Be the change you wanna see.
Seaside is a caring, connected, and expanding spiritual community, sharing practical tools for richer living.
Just your heart to show you how you can be the change. If you wanna.
We join in partnership with God to influence our lives for good, whether for improved health, finances, relationships, or simple happiness and joy.
Plant a flower, watch it grow. You will reap what you sow. You gotta be the change.
Give them a round of applause to your Seaside Band. They're always amazing, always so marvelous. Thank you, guys. Good morning, Seaside. Thank you for being here. It's so wonderful to see your beautiful, vibrant faces this Sunday morning. Before we start, I want to announce our light holder for this morning's beautiful, wonderful message, Sharon De Leon. She is a practitioner here at Seaside, and she will be holding the light, holding the space for this message. All right, so Seaside is a thriving community. There are things always happening. This is a huge campus, and here are some things that you might want to know and put into your agendas, or wherever you put things that you do. September 23rd, we're having a Board of Trustees lunch and concert, and October 22nd, we're having a golf tournament, which we already have 42 golfers signed up for. Yeah. Yep, we have 42 golfers. There's a banquet, concert, and award ceremony afterwards with Rebecca Jade and her crew. So go ahead and buy your tickets. John and Emily will be in the family room at their table. And there's an open mic now on Wednesday, so whatever your talent is, show up on Wednesday to either show your talent or to support. Meditations happen between services, so if you come a little bit earlier, you can meditate in community from 10:20 to 10:40. Seaside Education, so the Seaside catalogs are here, which means that there are new classes, new classes to take, new things to learn about. The next week starts Reverend Christian's Foundations class, so if you haven't taken that already, go ahead and sign up for that, and if you have taken it, maybe you want a refresher. Let's see what else. Living room conversations. I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. James Von Prague, we have a table in the family room so that you can buy your tickets if you haven't already. And here's a little clip so that you learn a little bit more about James Von Prague.
Give us glimpses of eternity.
He began by reaching back into my childhood.
And when you're younger, I get a lot of anger. So as I look to you as a little boy, I want to make sure that there's a sense of being wanted. And would you know Susan?
Yes.
Is Susan your mother?
Yes.
How interesting. You're part of two families, she's saying to me. That makes sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Are you adopted?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
I'd been expecting that, but I wasn't prepared for what happened next.
This man is coming close to me, so I'm asking him as I'm talking to you, I'm sending thoughts to him, and he's coming in very strong.
Was he talking about my father, or was it someone else?
Who is, you know the name of L.E.? Leonard or Leon, or Leo, L-E-O something?
Yes.
Leo. This is this man standing next to me.
Leo was the name of my adoptive mother's longtime companion, whom I loved as a stepfather for almost 25 years. Leo died suddenly in 2009.
I feel very much like he's a part of you as far as influencing you. I feel very much like that. It makes sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Can I just tell you that he holds you in like, and you're a big boy, but he's holding you like a baby, and I see it more as symbolic, because I see more like nurturing you.
Hearing of and thinking about Leo in that moment was a moving experience for me.
All right. So that is James Van Praagh, and he will be here at Seaside this Friday at 7 o'clock. If you haven't bought your tickets already, go ahead to the table in the family room to purchase your tickets. And if you are volunteering, there is a meeting after second service in the Emerson room, and there are flyers, so you guys can go ahead to the family room and pick up some flyers and hand those out so that everyone can come here this Friday for James Van Praagh. And living room conversations. So right after second service, Dr. Kathy is hosting our first living room conversation here at Seaside. And what it is that basically we're gonna come together and have a respectful conversation about race and ethnicity today. So this is a great way for people who have different perspectives, different outlooks, to come together and be heard. In a very loving and kind, gentle way, we can have conversations even if we don't agree. So that's happening today, right after second service, and we will have a food truck. It is a halal truck that will be right here at Seaside, and halal, Persian, Mediterranean, it's all very, very yummy. So right after the food truck, come back for the living room conversations, and with all that being said, we may now stand and greet our neighbors.
Good morning, Seaside. Please remain standing for our congregational song. It's a brand new one. Hope you enjoy it. All right.
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let's do that again now. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Let's have a little saxophone.
Becca, I like that one. Where'd you get that?
Brought by Kid Hill and Deline. It's a Gary Lynn Floyd tune.
Nice job, you, the three of you. It's like, wow. Yeah, oh my goodness. Hey, good morning, Seaside. Woo, all right.
A good morning, Christian.
All right. Yeah, she's loving us from Orlando. It's so fun watching somebody grow up in Seaside, practitioner in Seaside, ministerial school, and then run off to Florida. So, yeah, that's the way we're cast wonderful stars out into the world for sure. So, hey, it feels good to be back. You guys are looking great, sounding like you're doing great music every morning. It was probably like that every day, right? And I've peeked at some of what was going on Sundays. My goodness, what fantastic speakers you had here. I think I should go away more often. Yeah, just know that Seaside continues to be a place that is growing, that is alive, that is thriving, that cares, that loves, that educates, that provides tools, that picks us up when we stumble, brushes us off, say, get back out there again and do it, because we're doing this thing called life. It's not just theoretical. We are doing it. And as we do this thing called life, we have our fumbles and our challenges. But you know what? We love each other. And this is a place where we open up to new ideas and new possibilities. And today there's a wonderful conversation going on that you got to hear a little bit about. We're joining other centers for spiritual living around Southern California, whether it's Reverend Wendy Craig Purcell at Unity, or Reverend Guy Lorraine out at Fallbrook, or San Diego, or here. On the second Sunday at 1 o'clock in these different centers, we're just bolder together and saying we're taking on the brave conversation, like a living room, where we're going to have a conversation of hotly charged topics and not make anybody wrong, not try to push our opinion across, just trying to deepen an understanding. So today, grab some food, come on back. We're going to talk about race and ethnicity, and should be good. So plan to do that, because we're constantly working on expanding our awareness, and we do that always by first going to Spirit and God. And we have a wonderful practitioner today, longtime practitioner, Seaside of 20 years. This is Kathleen Lees.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please join me in a moment of stillness. What a joy it is to come together in this very special place, at this very special time, and to share music that fills our spirit and allows us to express ourselves through the music. And to hear these wonderful words, and they're presented with music, you absorb them in a way not just intellectually, but physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So knowing that that music brings us together and reminds us why we come here, why I come here, because this is my spiritual home. This is where I come to be renewed, to be loved, to be shared, and am open to sharing myself and receiving others easily and smoothly and naturally, because that is the natural way of the world. And we have created Seaside together as a family to be that safe place that we come together and are reminded of who we are and what we can do, and it makes us stronger. it makes us wiser, and it allows us to go out into the world and make a difference. And I know that that is so.
Let's stay in that moment of peace and love. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. Peace, and I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there is love, there is peace, there is love.
Thank you to our wonderful master practitioner, Kathleen Lees, for praying us in so beautifully, and Cahill and Delane. Oh my goodness, thank you. Beautiful song. Very beautiful way to begin this sacred time together. I'm Reverend Christina Tillotson, and it's my honor to especially extend a welcome to anyone who's here for the first time. If you're new, just know that this is a vibrant spiritual community that works for everyone. And no matter what path you're on or what your past is or present is, we welcome you here. Thank you for sharing your light and your love with us here. As you go out the back table, we have a special packet for you with a gift pack from the bookstore and a CD and all kinds of stuff to show you how much we appreciate you being here. And I just want to let you know that Christian's going to be talking about divine design today. And the way this spiritual community is we allow people to rise up to their most brilliant divine design. The last time I was up here, I had a cast on. Now I can drive and I can type. And I keep looking at my fingers and saying, wow, now I can use my hand. What a wonderful divine design that the support from people from Seaside have allowed me to have. Those of you, again, I want to thank you, those of you who made sure I was fed, and those of you who drove me around, and the amazing Audra Nicole, who continues to open cans of cat food for me and lift things for me, because I still am not, can't do that yet. But that divine design is not only for this physical plane, but for that plane that continues. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately, and what synchronicity that Dr. Christian's talking about that today, and that the amazing James Van Prague is coming on Friday, because he talks to people on the other side very, very powerfully, and that divine design of eternal life continues on. And I've thought a lot about that this week, because one of my most beloved favorite cats in the whole world made her transition last week, but I still see her. I still feel her presence. So that's that divine design of infinite life that we teach and we talk about. And in James Van Prague's book, The Power of Love, he says there are only two illusions that we think are real. The first illusion is separateness. When we are in spirit, we are one. There is no separation. Only on earth do we feel cut off from one another. We are energy beings. On the dense, heavy earth plane, our energy vibrates at a very slow rate, and we appear to be solid. In the spirit world of golden light, souls vibrate at a much higher frequency. They appear as pure light. While spirits may seem invisible to us, believe me, they are around us all the time. The more knowledge we have, the less fear we will have. The second illusion is death. Because we fear the unknown, death is the greatest of all of our fears because it is the greatest unknown. And when we are in complete alignment with that knowledge of the power of love, the less fear we will have, and we will realize that death is merely an illusion. Only love is real. So let's take these ideas into prayer. Turning within to that place where I acknowledge that divine design of spirit flowing through and as itself, as this whole universe, from the tiniest atom to the farthest galaxy, as light, as love, as oneness, as wisdom, as that divine spark within each being, within each rock, within each drop of the ocean, within and as each universe. It is all one. It is all what I call God, and it doesn't matter what you call it, but it's that one, that presence of life and love throughout all the universe. And that is who I am, and each one here is, and each one coming in through the podcast and the internet are perfect expressions of that light and that love and that oneness as spirit, perfect divine designs as spirit in human form right here and right now in this time and place and throughout the world. And so I'm knowing for this sacred time together that oneness, that light, that love, that is the perfect divine of spirit as each one just rolls up, just is expanded in each one here, allowing that light and that love of spirit to be revealed, not only here, but in every place in that world, surrounding the whole world and the whole universe with that light and that love that is the divine of spirit right here and right now. And I gratefully accept this as the truth right here and right now as I release this word to the law, knowing that it's now done in perfect grace and love. And so it is. Amen.
All right. Good morning, Seaside. Isn't it a beautiful day? So grateful to be here, be alive, be kicking. It's my honor every Sunday to introduce our guest artists. And I said this last service, but I want to say it again. We're so grateful for all the wonderful speakers we had this time while Reverend Christian was gone. But we're so glad that they're back. Reverend Christian and Callie, show them some love. You all were truly missed. And I wanted to take a moment and introduce our wonderful guest artists. They've been with us here for quite a while, and they just celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary. Can we give some love to 30? Love it, love it. They get to share love and life and music, and they're sharing their music with us today. They just came back from spending 25 days in Ireland and Scotland. Made no plans and just enjoyed themselves and just let the locals tell them where to go. So welcome back and happy anniversary, and let's have some music. Show some love to Cahill and Deline, everybody.
Yeah, and we are going to sing about love. This is a song that Cahill and I wrote called Everybody Matters. And when we got stuck at one of the verses, we said, hey, let's call up our dear friend Carl Anthony. And so it was a three-way songwrite between the three of us. So it's called Everybody Matters. And we definitely need some singing and dancing and clapping from you guys, all right? So let me show it to you, all right? It's called Everybody Matters, and you're going to sing the chorus with us. So it goes, everybody matters, everyone wants love. You sing it. Everybody matters, everyone wants love. And then the next part is love, 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 everyone wants love. And you kind of have to get your head going, all right? Love, 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 everyone wants love. You got it. All right, let's do it.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. I was walking through the park. It was getting kind of dark. I saw a man without a home. He looked so desperate and alone. I didn't know if I should smile. So I thought about it for a while. I walked away without a glance. Oh, why couldn't I take a chance? 'Cause everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love.
I was driving down the road, overwhelmed on overload. Pulled up beside a limousine. Rich man leaving fortune magazine. He looked unhappy and alone, doing deals by mobile phone. He wouldn't even look my way. Rolled down my window and I had to say, hey, hey.
Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love.
Blow that sax, Daddy. People, let me tell you that you matter tonight.
Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Everybody matters. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Yeah, 'cause everybody matters. Everyone wants love.
We want it, we want it.
Everybody matters. Everyone wants love.
Let me hear you say
Love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love. Everyone wants love. Let me hear you say love, love, love.
everyone wants love.
That is Cahill and Deline. Woo! Everybody wants love. Yes, 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 it does. All right. Woo! It feels good to be back here with you guys. I missed you. My goodness. I just love Sunday mornings at Seaside. This is as good as it gets in San Diego for sure. Anyway, hey, this morning is about divine design, and it is about that divine pattern that is within each and every one of us in every situation, because Spirit is omnipresent. It is everywhere present. And it's easy to see when you're in the trees. And just a couple days ago, we were out walking in the trees of Montana. It was beautiful and spectacular. And just a couple days before we left, Callie and I took a nice long walk through the woods, and we were on the path coming back to our house. And the house is right there on the hilltop, and we're coming up this path, and a little garden snake runs on the ground, and Callie said, "Whoa, look at that!" And I didn't see it. So we're kind of looking for it, and I'm kind of teasing her. It's like, you're always seeing things that really aren't there. And we kind of went back and forth for a little bit, and it wasn't there. So she kind of left me, since I wasn't like in total agreement. And so she walked up to the top of this path, and just as she was cresting the top, coming up the other side was a big black bear. And they came, I said, face to face. No, she just said close encounter. But bottom line is, she saw him and she backed out and said, "A bear." Now, did she really see a bear? Or, I started to cry. But her eyes are this big, and there is an energy that is just effervescing from her being as she's backing down the hill. And so now I'm standing between her and the bear, and she says, let's go. And I'm trying to figure, well, should we go up a hill to get away from a bear or down the hill? Because I would really like to go to our house, but the bear is between us and the house. But what happened is, next thing we saw is the bear running down into a ravine and up the other side, because that 60 seconds we spent, looking for a snake gave him a chance to get beyond the fence line, because had he not gotten up an extra 60 seconds worth beyond the fence line, there would have been a fence blocking his escape route. And he wanted to get away from us as much as we wanted to get away from him. And we saw bears run really fast, and they're really big. And, a bear encounter I always thought would be kind of cool and kind of fun. After the experience, I had it. I'm done. I don't need to have that anymore. It is a lot more intense than my mind thought it would be. But the next day, our neighbor caught the picture of the same bear walking on our property. And so here's her phone shot of the bear. That's our fence. That's our property. That's our bear. So, I just want to validate everything we know. The experience is far more intense than our mind can actually have the experience. But, the divine design is somehow there was a little garden snake that may or may not have been there, though Callie's sure it was. And that slowed it down, so we did not really have a bigger issue than we had. It is amazing when you're out walking in the woods. And so it was Friday or Thursday, we headed on home, and that means that Callie was able to get Trevor onto a plane, which hasn't really happened for a while, but a little airport, and we did take his iPad away from him in May and promised him he could have it back if he got on the plane. It worked wonders. But Trevor and Callie flew home, and not home. They went to Las Vegas. That was the other thing. Trevor wanted to go to the Shelby Museum, the Shelby Cobra Museum, the Mustangs and all those things. And so that was another incentive to get on the plane. So they flew nonstop there out of a little airport, and I got to have the beautiful experience driving 18 straight hours. And so, waking up the next morning in the high-rise Las Vegas is an entirely different experience than waking up in the woods. I've got to let you know that. It doesn't take long to slip into the nature deficit disorder kind of experience. It's like, wow, this is different. But what was interesting is we took Trevor to that museum, and the cars are cool. Rick, you'd appreciate them. It's like they're good to look at. But all of a sudden, like the manager of that plant or the factory was talking to Callie, and Callie somehow finagled him to get one of the main guys to give Trevor a private tour inside the factory. And so here's Trevor with Chris Ruby looking inside these cars that are like 500 horsepower, which I guess is a lot. But he said this one, we're adding 600 horsepower more, making 1,100. It's not even street legal. And Trevor says, how fast? 0 to 60. And then every car, how fast? 0 to 60. What's the range? And he's just whipping off these questions. And this kid, a young man, who has a couple children of his own who are not interested in cars, and he loves cars. And Trevor's just like getting him all excited. He says, hey, Trevor, you want to take a ride? I'll take you in this like this Shelby 500 Mustang, and they just ripped out of the factory, tore it around the neighborhood. Trevor's just having a ball, and it was... Then he came back and did it with a Raptor four-wheel drive. That's like this $150,000 car or truck they use on commercials. And anyway, but what I got is the divine design doesn't only happen out in nature with snakes and bears, but it also happens in Las Vegas in factories because Spirit is omnipresent. You got that? And so sometimes when you're looking at things, you know how you're looking at the world right now? This means yes. You know how you're looking at the world right now? I want you to know there may be a different way to look at it. Think about that. You know the dark picture you see? I want us to get, that's not the full story. There's more to it. There is a divine design, whether it's in nature, whether it's in the city, or whether it is in a situation in life that just seems so ominous, I just don't know what to do or to think about that. But what the Course in Miracles says, if you want to experience a miracle, you've got to undo what your mind says is true. Right? If you want to experience a miracle, you've got to undo what your mind says is true, because your mind knows where the edge is and says this is what is possible. But you know what? There's something beyond what you think is possible. There is a greater possibility that's there. But what happens is we just get caught up in our life. We get complacent. If not, we just get into our routine. We've got life working. It's comfortable. It's safe. There's a little stretch here. We can make the ends meet or pay the mortgage. We got everything working, and it's just fine. But you're meant to experience more than just fine. There is a divine design that has some magnificence ready for you, but you have to be willing to go beyond the edge, beyond that fence, and have a new kind of encounter. When I was there, I had the opportunity for the first time to ride a surfboard in the wake behind a boat. I've never had that experience. They said, Christian, you want to go surfing behind a boat? And I thought, count me in, sounds good. And so the day we went out, it was the first week we were there, and we had these horrendous fires. The smoke was so thick in the Flathead Valley, just to breathe was like taking a puff of a cigarette every time. And so we went out on the lake, and the winds had just been picking up, and everybody had been praying for weeks for winds, but nothing had changed yet, other than there were now white caps on the water. That was in this mountain range, but I can't see the mountains because I can hardly see the front of the boat. The smoke is so thick. And I'm now going to jump in an glacier-fed lake, and I don't care if it's August, it is cold. And, it was interesting. What was coming up for me was some apprehension, was looking like a fool, because the people I was going out with was just tearing it up out there. They're doing little 360s as they're jumping. And now they said, okay, Christian, it's your turn. Now, I surf, but water ski and I, we don't really mesh. I mean, not that I'm opposed to it, but it's not my thing. I'm good at snow skiing. And I jumped in the water. Shock. It's like, bad idea. But anyway, and I took the rope, and I did it. And it was fabulous to be able to surf inside the wake behind a boat. It is fun. It's exciting. Though it was my first time, I assure you, I did not look aesthetically perfect doing that, but they were videotaping me on the phone, and then they sent it to Callie, and Callie put it on the Facebook, and 700 people are now looking at me, looking like a fool learning to wake ski for the first time and fall. And so I guess I share that because I had the opportunity to encounter myself in ways I hadn't recently. And I think for the divine design to show up beyond our complacency or our routineness or what we have just going on in our life, we need some new encounters with ourselves in life. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out wake surfing or parachuting or bear encounters or slip into a tantra class to be able to stretch in new kinds of ways. But what I do think is necessary is that you've got to get up off the couch and do something different that you haven't been doing in your life. Because there is a divine design that is grander than what you're experiencing right now. But you've got to do something different. Put on some crazy socks. Wear something different to bed. Meet somebody new. Take a different route home so you encounter a different aspect of yourself. Because your mind, it gets used to what it knows. That's what it does. And then it kind of carves it out, and it sits there and protects it and stays in that space. And it happens to artists and creative people. And, you hit this space, and nothing really new keeps coming out. It's like the Sahara Desert in my mind sometimes when I go to write. It's like, come on, got to be something new. Psychologist Rollo May, he wrote a book, Courage to Create. And one of the things he explained about artists often need to have an encounter before they're able to create something new. An encounter with a landscape, whether it's in the woods, in the forest, an encounter with another person, a muse to get you going, a breakup, a bad date, a heartbreak, something that moves you beyond the familiar, so there's an encounter with an aspect of yourself that you're not familiar, so you can open up the chapter to that divine design that you haven't been to yet. And you're going to falter, and hopefully nobody's going to post it on Facebook that you trust and believe who takes care of your image for the world. You're going to fumble and fake, but you know what? That's how it seems to go, is you're going to do something new, and you're not going to be perfect the first time out. And the adrenaline's going to pump, and you're going to wonder, but you know what? There's something inside of you that is able to go beyond where you have been, because so often we're looking for that creativity or that answer in the space in which we already know, and we don't find the answer in the space we already know, or we would have found it by now. You got that? You don't find the answer because you're not looking for it, or the answer doesn't match the answer you want. You ever go looking for an answer, but it has to look like you wanted it to look before you start looking? Advertisers do that all the time, but that's a different subject. We just, sometimes at the get-go, we know how we want it to turn out, and that's not open to the divine design, the creativity that is there. Our mind is fickle. Our mind wants to know before it starts that what the encounter is going to look like, who it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. That's not how that works. The mind is fickle. It is goofy. It loves to explore and see different things, shop in different places and have lots of different experiences. All is fine and wonderful, but I got to tell you what, the soul and the heart, they're tracking. They caught the scent, and they are tracking their divine design, and it is moving. There's just like one or two things that turns it on, and this is the direction it is moving. It is the direction it is going, but the mind says, hey, I want a sign. I'm going with you. Just show me the arrow that's pointing in the right direction that I'm going. I want to see the statistics. I want to know in advance. I got to give James Von Prague a call and say, hey, how is it going to turn out here? I want a brochure that has a money-back guarantee, and a nice insurance policy attached would be helpful before I'm willing to enter into this new space. But only as we're willing to enter into the new space are we going to be able to discover something. Well, Christian, I'll enter into that new space. I'm with you as soon as I know where it's going. Or I will find peace in my life, in my meditation, once I know what my world's going to look like, which is absolutely backwards. It is in finding the peace that things are revealed. You got that? People say, I will have peace after I know what it is I'm to do, or where I'm going, or what's up, or how it's going to. No. You find the peace. In the aggravation, trying to figure it out, and all these kind of encounters, and it's not a place. It's like that bear encounter. I got to assure you, I experienced an adrenaline and a rush in my whole being like I had never experienced, at least not for a while. That new aspect of myself. It is not the time, that moment, to say, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life now? It's only when you're at peace do you begin to say, okay, what is it? I don't need to know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. What I need to know is that I'm going to be able to be able to trust what comes up for me. I'm going to put myself into situations that bring forth an aspect of my being that is new, that is a greater expression of the giant within, of the spirit within. You know, it's what is it that you're going to do that allows you to encounter yourself in a new way, so the divine design can come out in a new place. This week I'm starting a Prac 1 class. I haven't taught a Practitioner 1 class in 20 years. I have not made that 30-week commitment to our professionals, but you know what? It is going to stretch me and have me grow. I'm looking forward to seeing you in there, Dee, and you, Ann, in that class, and I could point out a bunch of others. It's going to be wonderful. On Thursday afternoons, it's going to stretch. I'm still teaching foundation class on Tuesday nights because I love meeting people and having the intimate relationship with people that are beginning on this philosophy. Callie's doing something new. She's doing on the second Monday night, which happens to be this Monday, the rituals and the ceremonies. The Seaside Sisters are creating this sacred space to come and experience that spirit that is beyond that intellectual understanding. What is it that you are doing that is allowing you to encounter, to meet an aspect of yourself you haven't met? Did you come to James Von Prague? Where are you going to be Thursday night? Okay, we need a little louder response to that. You know, but, you know, put yourself into an adult education class. Come here, James Von Prague, and have him stretch you. And you know, one of the things he talks about is what it's like without this physical body. It's not as if you lose who you are. And the evidence that one experiences on this evening is amazing. He may be talking to somebody that's not you, but the validation and the evidence is so real, you are having the experience of what's coming from the other side. He and Lynn are not psychics per se. They call themselves mediums. They are like that threshold through which the spirit is able to communicate with us that are here in the physical form. You know, what you want to do is to have the experiences that stretch you in a way you haven't been. From James' book, hey, you see the light connection? Front cover, did you pick it up on the way? That's pretty cool. Nice job. But I want to share with you what I love the way he talks about letting go of the physical body. You know, who you are is using this body. You know, he says, I have people say, hey, James, would you tell my mom I love her? And he says, you tell her herself. You know, she's right here. See, that's part of the challenge of the mind wanting the arrows and the controls is that it doesn't get, if I'm here, how can I be over here? You know, how can I have simultaneous experiences? But when your consciousness, not formed, you're not bound by the linear space where I'm here and I can't be learning and growing and expanding with family or friends elsewhere at the same time. So anyway, I love this. I've probably shared it with you before since I do really like this description. I like this description so much. I'm writing the Easter message for the movement for all the churches, and I think I'm going to include this. So he writes a scuba diving analogy. He says the diver doesn't spend the entire time underwater fretting about when his oxygen's going to run out. They know that it's going to happen sooner or later. So he just enjoys the marvels and the sights that are below the surface. They may be having a great time, just come upon an interesting shipwreck, but when the clock goes off, it's time to go to the surface. There's just no two ways about it. It certainly doesn't mean that one can't go back down later. It's just part of the experience. And when the diver surfaces, they may be able to slap a new tank and dive back down, and they might lie on the boat and contemplate the journey for a while that they've just completed. Well, throughout history, humans have looked upon death as something to fear. It's the fear of the unknown. It's because God, in infinite wisdom, has awakened our awareness of reality while we're in the depths of the ocean with a finite amount of oxygen. We don't know what will happen when the tank runs out. We don't know that above the surface is the actual reality, our real home. We'll dive with many friends, and when their tanks run out, they have to go. We're going to miss them, of course, but when our time is up, we'll see them on the top side. And the last thing our friends would want is for us to spend the rest of our time mourning their absence. Is that cool? You know? So I guess I'm here saying you want to stretch yourself to be able to find the divine design, so there's a new opening and a new place for spirit to begin to have wiggle room. If your mind has it all wrapped up nice and neat, there is no room for God and the new experience. You want to step in, but I have people say, okay, Chris, I'm willing to step in, but how long is it going to take? Really? It's like it's unfolding right now. How long is your mind going to have a stranglehold on what you think reality is? How long are you going to be throwing rocks at anything that approaches you that you don't understand? I mean, that's what's wonderful about this afternoon's living room conversations that you heard about, is that we're going to create a space, like a living room, where we're going to have a conversation around subjects that have a charge to it. We're going to be bold enough, that's going on in a lot of centers, we're saying we're bold enough together. You know what? We're going to roll up our sleeves, we're going to create a safe space, make nobody wrong, not need to point a finger, or prove a point, or make somebody grasp. What we're doing is creating the space to educate ourselves on these hot topics, and today it happens to be race and ethnicity. So grab some food at the food trucks and come on back. But what I want us to get is that what's important is to go to Spirit, not necessarily for the answer for our mind, but rather what we want to do is go to the Spirit. Period. Got that difference? That omnipresence with the divine design for whatever situation you are in is just perfect. But the mind wants to take charge. It's looking for that arrow. It's hiking in the woods, and it's looking for a dolphin. It's like you're not going to find the dolphins as you're hiking in the trees. It's not where they are. Well, that's what it's like. The mind is trying to grasp the issues of the heart, of the soul, of the spirit. It wants to know how it's going to work out. What am I going to do with the rest of my life as I'm beginning to freak out here? No, what matters is what I'm going to do in this moment. And a good thing to breathe, invite a greater awareness, and look for spirit around you right now. And I'll tell you what, you're probably going to find a little crumb of God. That's a message. And this little breadcrumb, if you follow it, it's like following your way home from the gingerbread house. One will lead to the next and the next. And your mind's going to say, and really, Christian, that's your plan? You're going to follow breadcrumbs? The mind hates breadcrumbs. That you're going to pick up this piece. I want you to know that piece, just because you have found something doesn't mean it's supposed to last your whole life. This particular experience you find yourself in, it doesn't mean that relationship has to be there forever. It is a valuable part of your life right now. In this moment, it is part of a divine design. Stop trying to control it and hold on to it, and recognize that a breadcrumb is like that arrow you're looking for. It is a message. It is a Messiah. It is a message from God. It is a promissory note, if you would, if you're willing to embrace it and take that step. And those crumbs sometimes are only meant to be a catalyst. They're only meant to be a stepping stone from where you are to where you're going next. There's no need to hold on to the raft. Once you've made it across the river, you leave it there and you continue on your journey. A relationship or an understanding or an insight or an investment or a person sometimes may have fulfilled their time with you as part of the divine plan. And am I willing to let that go so I'm available for the greater yet to be that is part of the divine plan, that is your dharma, that is your sacred covenant, that is your soul agreement when you came in here. But you've got to be available for that. So, and as you go forward, and you don't necessarily know where it's going to lead or how you're going to get home or what have you, but you've got to live with a sense of trust. When you look back, you can see, right, 2029, I get it now. And some of those things that made no sense in the time are a linchpin for your greater experience today. You know what I mean? I can remember when Callie and I first lived together. We had this beautiful home on the top of Crest in Del Mar. And we had signed a year's lease, and we bought new furniture. We were moving in together, starting the rumors at Seaside. It was great. And a few months into this just dream place, Stella Durham, bless her heart. I have forgiven her already, though I still remember her name. Realtor in Del Mar. And she decided she wanted to move back home. And she wanted in. And it's like, but we have a contract. And it's like, so what do you do? You know, it's like, you know, it's her place. I don't want to live somewhere where I'm not want. So Callie and I opened up, okay, where are we going to go? And so she helped us find a wonderful another spot in Del Mar on Luneta, actually closer to the beach. And we moved in there. And it was good, Mel and Barbara. And every day, we didn't want this experience again. I'd walk down the beach, I'd meditate, I'd say, God, show us our perfect house, our new home, our perfect place. You know, every day, Callie joined me, in prayers, like any young couple that got together. And the amazing thing is across the street, there was this funky old beach shack on a big old lot that was up for sale forever because it was the middle of the real estate recession. Remember the early 90s, mid 90s, nothing was selling. And so, we checked into it. And they were steadfast to their price. They were not changing, from their price. And, it's like, well, truth is, told them, we don't mind paying full price for what you have. We just don't have any money. I've been working in town here for a year, and we're meeting in a hotel on Sundays. And they said, well, that's okay. We'll hold the paper. We'll give you the loan for the down payment. And with the help of a couple friends, we scraped up a few dollars, not many, but Steve Ostro helped us out with that one. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're living in this home for the next 6 years, watching the whales swim by our front window, and it was just amazing. And when it came time to sell that place, we were able to have our dream home here in Encinitas next to Seaside as we bought this place and built this place and a couple other places. It's like, who would have thought getting kicked out by Stella Durham would have been a linchpin for our greater abundance in our life? Though I have forgiven her. And so I share that story that don't be afraid to follow the breadcrumb, to follow the love, to follow the excitement, to follow that joy, and not have to know you want to encounter aspects of yourself you haven't met in a while, you haven't seen in a while, because there is a divine design in your life and this experience that you find yourself in that is seeking to birth itself in a greater way. So what is important here is to know Spirit in the midst of it all. Whether you're facing a bear, whether you're in a car factory, whether you're getting kicked out of something, you have got to know there is greater good seeking to emerge. If I am able to create the space in my field of awareness for God to download the greater plan that is in store, because the way I'm seeing life, you know what? There's another way to look at it. I can't for a moment think I know all the good that the universe has in store for me. I'm the one who has to open my mind and move beyond the edge of the fence of that which is possible. And that happens when you find peace first. So when you encounter that which gets the adrenaline going, you don't lose your centeredness. It's not after everything calms down you find peace. You find peace first. So when you are challenged, and we will be challenged, and we will fumble, and we will fail, but if you know that presence within you, and it doesn't matter what you call it, Lao Tzu called it the Tao, the way, right? Abraham used to hang out with his friend, another tribesman, God, if you would. Jesus called it the Father. Ramakrishna called it Mother Kali. Paul called it the Christ. Ernest Holmes called it the thing itself. It's not what you call it or how your mind tries to explain it. James Von Prague says, you know what it's like, being there and coming back. It's like coming back from Tahiti and trying to explain the experience to your cat. It doesn't equate intellectually with words in the mind. It is the experience. It doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is that you feel it, that you know it, that you go to it for the experience of the presence, not for an answer, because the answers are revealed. For us to be able to find a courage inside of ourselves so we can look at the snakes in the world and realize that, you know what, this is part of the divine plan for something greater that I don't even know what's around the bend or on the other side of the hill, but God does, the life does. I'm going to put my trust in that greater yet to be, knowing that whatever piece before me is a crumb is leading me to a greater crumb, and that I'm going to be able to embrace it and appreciate it and trust that it's leading me on down the road to the greater expression of my divine design. God bless us as we live in this place. I love you. Hey, let's keep it going for Cahill and Darlene.
You guys ready? Are you ready? One, two, three, four. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God. Jesus said that I and the Father are one. We're made in the image and the likeness of the one. Since God is who we are, let God be what we show. Let's see the God in everyone, everywhere we go. Whoa, whoa. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God. Now your mind is defined as the garden of your soul. Let love, faith, and happiness witness what unfolds from the beauty of creation reflected in your eyes. We see everything in order and we live in paradise. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God. Omnipresence manifesting the cosmic unity. The ins and outs, the ups and downs, and everything in between. On the intellectual orchestrated relativity. The power of creation is God's gift to you and me. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning.
Sing along with us now.
God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God. One more time, girl. God is all there is. God is all there is in the beginning. God. Thank you.
That is Barry and Delane. Woo! God is all there is. If we can just remember that, that's all you need to know. My goodness, it's just, that's it. That's the whole message. Stick with that one. Keep it simple. Anyway, hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our sharing and our love and our contribution and our support. And as you give, it comes back. But that's not why you do it. You do it because it's an extension of your consciousness. You do it without the strings attached, so you're able to be in that flow and you begin to be that conduit through which the infinite shows up in your life in those ways that are real and relevant and important and significant. So that means more than just the monetary way. That means, whatever projects you've got going on. That means any issues that you're working on. Spirit shows up when you're able to be part of that, and you can't outgive God. And so when you take a portion of whatever is coming into your life and commit that to Spirit, which is that which gives you the power to experience wealth in your life, is the all wealth anyway, you're just in the right relationship. So feel the joy of your heart and the appreciation for your spiritual home and the place that reminds you of God, and support that in this moment. And with that, I want to invite our ushers to come forward. Wonderful team that is here week after week. Just thank you. You guys look great and appreciate you. And for greeting us when we get here, too. You're the first smiley face that we see in the parking lot and the doors and get us seated. So you mean a lot. And thank you to those that mail in your contributions when you can't be here. That is very important for us to continue our ongoing operation, and those that participate with the auto tithe, that make the pledge during the pledge season that's coming up next month, and just say, hey, count me in this year, and set that up. And you guys at home, we know you're there, you're watching today, and I was watching the last few weeks too. We had some great speakers, and your support is significant. It makes a difference. And also send in prayer requests. We love to pray. But with this said, I just sit here with a sense of gratitude. With the most generous of spiritual communities, for this truly is a blessed moment where the fullness of the divine unfolds its expression as our very life. And so as we become that divine expression, get our concerns and constrictive thinking out of the way, we begin to be that expanding flow of greater good. The abundance flows, the joy, the health, the love, all that which is significant in our life continues to be manifesting without the effort, but with the grace, because the cells are alive with the celestial sounds of the infinite good. So knowing that the abundant good is our experience here and now, we take that which has blessed our world and we share that in support of Spirit's work. And we know that the gift we give goes out and touches and blesses those who are in its wonderful flowing path. And I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to be able to be grateful, to be a contributor to life. So with joy, we send this forth, and with joy, we continue to receive greater good. And so it is. Amen. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Those are our guys from Seaside. Nice job. Well, I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. And I want And so as I stand before this abundance, I feel just the blessings and the love and the grace and the good that has moved from each and every one of our worlds to create this wonderful foundation of abundance. For truly this gift that has been given has enriched the giver, and I know for sure it blesses all those it comes in contact. So as it moves forth from here in good stewardship, it brings that love and blessings and sense of trust and peace and security to everyone it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for the wonderful expression of spirit that is touched down here and now, and so it is. Amen. All right. This is John, board member. Hey, how's our golf tournament going? 42 golfers already. Wow. That is good. I didn't know we had that many golfers here.
Big push for another month.
Another month. Okay, that's good. Wow. And if you're not golfing, you get to come hear Rebecca rock us out. I heard you made the tickets very inexpensive so we could get everybody here. I've never been to a banquet that level for a long time. 10 left favors. So we're having a big party Sunday, September 23rd. The board is throwing like a 30th anniversary party, a celebration of the pavers, food, and the whole bit. Okay, plan to stick around. Free food, free concert, Peggy Lebo going on right here and to celebrate Seaside. The Seaside is such a rocking good place. I just love it here. You know, it's there's so much is going on. Big news is classes. Take a look at your program, the catalog, and see which class you want to be in. You know, we say around here, life just works better when you're in class. So figure out which one you want to be in. I'd like to see all of us just expanding our spiritual vibration for sure. And then Friday night, you know where you're going to be, right? Okay, I just checking. We talked about this about a half hour ago. So, but just to give you a heads up, it may not be a sold-out crowd this time, so it's going to be a far more intimate kind of experience than previous ones. So it's a good one to get. I think there might even be a dozen VIP tickets left if you want to get close and have a conversation with James or Lynn. Definitely that's going to be going on. But Friday night, it's going to be happening. It's going to be big. It's going to be truly a spectacular evening. What else is going on? Monday night, you heard Callie and the Seaside Sisters are creating a sacred space where you're going to experience the peace of the ritual of centering and the whole goddess kind of vibration going on. So that's going to be there. So I could take a look at the program, but I think that's all I really want to be talking about right now. Because I could be, living room conversations. I'm glad I didn't forget that because Kathy would not have been pleased with me. As well as all the other centers. So as soon as I'm done carrying on here, there's a food truck outside that Catherine set up for us to get a bite. Even if you're not sticking around, hit up the food truck, so they are appreciative. And this boulder together is all the centers saying, you know what? In all the centers of New Thought in Southern California, we're getting together and just having this living room conversation, exploring hot topics, making nobody wrong, and actually inviting different perspectives. How can this be true without me telling you you're wrong? And so there's ground rules we're going to be playing by, and that's going to be going on in a little bit. And I stalled long. Thank yous. Hey, what do you want to say? You want to say? Thinking, yeah. Okay, well, nobody wants to talk to me, huh? Okay, well, we want to talk to you. Let's say together our wonderful affirmation for our kids, and that is, we see you, we love you, we support you in your magnificence. How's that feel, guys? That's good. So before I pray, I just want to say thank you to our wonderful sound team. That's Ed and Steve back there, Marv on the visuals. Big shout out to the Crawford production crew. Thank you for sending this to the world. And coming in, our 35-year relationship, Barry and I, goes way back. And Deline, just a joy to have you share Sundays with you. You guys just rock the house in ways that are wonderful. Thank you for our new congregational song. We're going to be using it for sure. And Rebecca, always a joy to do Sundays with you. And with that said, I'm praying. I want to invite any of our religious science practitioners to stand so we can all feel this upliftment of this divine vibration, this energy, this life force. I can feel that movement of God right here. It's not what I call it, Tao, Father, friend. It is the feeling, it is the experience, it is the vibration, it is the love, it is knowing that which shows up in my world right now is that peace is the crumb, it could be the linchpin. Who knows other than it is God expressing. in its divine way, the divine design that brings greater good into our experience in life is what is moving right now. Open up to that. Feel that breath of life. For as I go to God, for God, the answers are revealed. The healing transforms. The upliftment of support begins to have ways that are blessed beyond what the mind knows is possible. For this is a moment of healing. Say yes to that. This is a moment of my healing. Say that to yourself. For I know right now we are always moving on to the next rung of the spiral of the divine design. And what begins to be revealed is a greater clarity as to that which is next. Not for the rest of my life, but that which is next is calling me to trust, to love, and to believe. And as I say yes to the gifts of God that have been placed before me, before each and every one of us, something profoundly good happens, transpires, unfolds. The floodgates open, and the greater good pours forth everything that is necessary, and I am able to let go of the constriction and the littleness in which I have been holding, and I open up to the greater expanding good for new space, for new ideas of this divine design of being that brings with it the health and the vitality and the well-being as I say yes to the God plan, to the Dharma, for the soul purpose, for the soul agreement and covenant that was made in arriving in this world. The healing happens, the vibrations aliven, enrich, revitalize, refresh, and the physical body comes into greater alignment. The different operating systems of the physical form return to their state of physical well-being and wholeness. I need not have to understand. I just open up to Spirit, knowing Spirit is the answer, and I need not be made known to me. I just need to know God here, the Tao, the friend, the life force. With that, I begin to see in new ways from the mountaintop views of possibilities that are exciting and dynamic and rich. And I begin to meet new aspects of my being, new encounters with the self I hadn't seen in a while, that opens up to the grace of God that pours forth richness and blessings in financial ways, and the right connections and wonderful relationships and joy and happiness and laughter. All of a sudden the world is filled with a sense of fulfillment and success, and the relationships just sparkle in such appropriateness. I'm grateful to live in this kind of life, for this is the grand design. I know every prayer request that's been brought forth to Seaside is blessed, fulfilled. For wonderful brother Steve White, whose brother Tom made his transition this last week. Know that Tom moves on with those wonderful currents of eternality, and that Steve is just surrounded in love and fellowship and friendship and is blessed. He's actually in Montana right now with Brenda, just experiencing the presence of God in the trees. And for Ed Cox, oh my goodness, wonderful practitioner at Seaside. His mom made her transition this week, and Edith moves on with the wonderful currents of light and life and joy and self-expression once again. And that Ed is surrounded by the comfort of his deep belief and knowingness of the eternality and the immortality of that individual soul that is forever expanding. Something good's going on here at Seaside. It is growing. It is thriving. We're moving into this fall season, wrapping up summer with a sense of joy and light and well-being. And so we move forth into this new time knowing that Seaside is on a solid foundation, that every member of this community's life is growing and expanding, moving to a greater conscious connection with Spirit. And Seaside continues to prosper in ever-expanding, more comfortable ways than ever before. And I say thank you. Not thank you to anyone or anything. I just live with a state of appreciation, gratitude for the grace that has its way, the love of God being known as Seaside. So I let go with this and let it be. So it is. Amen.
Time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day. You've got to let it go. And this is what
week is I trust the divine design of my life. Together, I trust the divine design of my life. Again, I trust the divine design of my life. Touch your heart and say it again. I trust the divine design of my life. One more time, like you mean it. I trust the divine design of my life. In our song of grace.
I'm living in love, I'm living in peace, I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joys and through fears, in this world I walk, God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 Have a wonderful week, Seaside. See you next week. Bring a friend.